last thing I want to show you from the Gender Minorities website is actually I found a connection to international funding. So there's something called the International Trans Fund, and I found a blog and it's back from 2017. International Trans Fund supports the trans community development in Aotearoa. We're thrilled to announce that International Trans Fund has granted us funding, and it will help us go to open the Gender Centre in Wellington next year. Do you remember what the Gender Centre was?
Remind me. This one.
The Gender Centre, which is actually
Auntie Dana's op shop.
Right?
Yeah.
What a grift.
Total grift.
Total grift. So that was the first time that I can see that gender minorities received international funding. So I wanted to now go and look at a little bit into who is the International Trans Fund, because quite quickly we will go right up the ladder here on this. International Trans Fund is a participatory grant-making fund made up of trans activists and donors. So basically it's where the slush fund is received and filtered out to the agencies that are applying to use it, of which Gender Minorities has had it for a few years. And in the last year, they haven't had it, but another group called Rainbow Path New Zealand has had it, which is actually about refugees and asylum seekers who are trans. So they've moved the money into that now. Okay. So what I want to show you here is that I found on their website, so International Trans Fund, this is where I'm going to show you who's funding the International Trans Fund. International Trans Fund report, and this is in 2019, and this is what I want to call out. So they are funded by the Ford Foundation. Now the Ford Foundation is, so Henry Ford is part of the Committee of 300, who's part of the big families that are doing evil things.
Wow.
Yeah, did you know that?
Well, yeah, I kind of always knew that the top of those families, Ford and the Rothschilds and all that sort of stuff, they're all kind of in that basket of controlling the world. Yeah. You know, if we tend to go down an Illuminati rabbit hole there.
Yeah.
Or something like it.
Exactly. So that's it. And then the one on the right-hand side is the American Jewish World Service, which is quite interesting I don't know much about the American Jewish World Service, but when you think about the fact that they've just written a document, gender minorities, that if you're questioning trans, you're a Nazi.
Brilliant.
Connected?
Yeah, it looks like it, yeah.
Probably. But the one I want to focus on is the one in the middle, the ARCUS Foundation. And so my eyes sort of went, oh, wow, I think we just found it. So the ARCUS Foundation, which funds International Trans Fund, which has funded gender minorities, which is an op shop. I want to now just show you Jennifer Billick. So Jennifer Billick has been, I think she's like the foremost researcher into finding the money fund internationally with all of this trans stuff, right?
Right.
She was doing it way, way, way before I was, and she's just a total legend. So in 2020, she wrote this article, All Roads Lead to ARCUS. So she published an article documenting the transfer of wealth from Stryker Medical Corporation profits by its heir, John Stryker, to his LGBT NGO, ARCUS Foundation. So now we're getting to where the big money is coming from. From ARCUS Foundation, this medical corporation money is funneled through cultural, civic, educational, religious, institutions globally. So that's how they've done it.
Do you know who Stryker is?
You tell me.
Yeah, I actually happen to have some idea if it's the same Stryker I'm thinking it is. They're frequently on Seek and like LinkedIn Jobs promoting their sales reps for hospitals for replacement parts, knees, arms, prosthesis. They're right in there with teaching surgeons how to use their products and all that sort of thing. So they're really big in the medical industry if they're the ones I'm thinking they are.
They are those ones because actually someone in our organisation has done a bit of research into it. I've just realised that I hadn't put that up. But
go to that one, Stryker Jobs. Yeah, I mean, you go to the
job leads. Go to that one.
No, but same thing. Yeah, that's the logo that I'm I've seen.
So
yeah.
I do believe that it's the same one. So I mean, without going into a lot of detail here, who's winning when our children are thinking that they need to change their biology as medical profession, right? Pharmaceutical, surgical, all of that.
Yeah,
okay?
no, you've really stumbled on something there. Well, not stumbled, but you're quite right. So this rabbit hole goes right down this whole process of encouraging people to, with gender affirming care, go and have surgery.
Medicalise.
And here's a company that's a surgical company that is going to have all the procedures and the know-how and the instructions to train surgeons to use their materials and their high-cost prostheses and all sorts of things to give someone a surgery to change them. And they're right there. That's, and then there'll be people in New Zealand whose jobs it is literally to train surgeons how to do a gender change.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you understand that because you've worked in the medical industry to know that that's how much money is behind that. Yeah.
Yeah. And a minimum mid six-figure jobs for people to train surgeons how to do that. Yeah.
Massive industry. Yeah. So when you think about it, that they are in the medical industry and then they've got enough money that they put their money into a foundation which is clearly funding LGBT NGOs, which is what we have hundreds of here. But this is going up to the Berg level. So again, people can read. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but from what Jennifer's saying is from ARCUS Foundation, this medical corporation, money is funneled. There you go. ARCUS Foundation, based in America, drives the body-denying ideology of transgenderism into every sector of society. In my article, I outline the political infrastructure created by this banker, heir, and trained architect to drive the normalisation of body disassociation for profit. This flowchart exhibits a visual, and so there's got it's very hard to read, but there's the Yogyakarta Principles, Outright International, which I've done stuff about and will do more. So she's doing, she was doing this work way before me, and then I'm going to go to the article that she linked to, which was another article she'd written from Uncommon Ground Media. See, Stryker Corporation and the ARCUS Foundation, the billionaires behind the new LGBT movement. So this was written in 2020 as well. Billionaire philanthropists, in inverted commas, have been driving the change from LGB to LGBT. So it's adding in the trans, you see, because LGBs didn't need to do all this. The Stryker Corporation and the ARCUS Foundation is just one example. So, it actually says there, not long ago, the gay rights movement was a small group of people struggling to follow their dispositions within a larger heterosexual culture. Gays and lesbians were underdogs, vastly outnumbered and loosely organised, sometimes subject to discrimination and abuse. Their story was tragic, their suffering dramatised by AIDS and Rock Hudson, Brokeback Mountain and Matthew Shepard. Today's movement, however, looks nothing like that band of persecuted outcasts. The LGBT rights agenda, note the addition of T, has become a powerful, aggressive force in American society. It advocates stand at the top of media, academia, the professions, and most important, big business and big philanthropy. Consider the following case. So it talks about, Stryker again and everything. So people can go and have a look into that. But I think what I've found is the connection from Stryker and ARCUS funding through the International Trans Fund and then dropping it into New Zealand through Gender Minorities is the only one that New Zealand got the money from that fund up until recently. So you can see why they are so pushing the healthcare side of things.
Oh, yeah. Well, purely just from the profit made from selling their materials through hospitals. I mean, it's every surgery's thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah. So what started as a conversation about this anti-transgender extremism book, by the way, that's all connected with the Soros Foundation.
Oh, that makes interesting viewing for some of the stuff that's going on overseas and how Soros funds a whole bunch of protests and left-wing stuff.
Yeah. So I'm just jumping back to this article about the Stryker Corporation that Jennifer Billick wrote in 2020. So we talked about the Yogyakarta Principles, and that's what I talked about in Canada. So she says that with the Yogyakarta Principles, the seeds were planted to bring in and attach gender identity ideology to our legal structures. And that's what I've been talking about. So O'Flaherty has been an elected member of the United Nations Human Rights Council since 2004. So it goes back to international human rights, United Nations there. She talks about Outright International, which I talk about. I'm just trying to find the George Soros. There we go. In 2013, Adrian Comman, a veteran of George Soros's Open Society Foundations, a driver of transgender ideology that has begun initiatives to normalise transgender children, was named director of the International Human Rights Program at the ARCUS Foundation to drive gender ideology globally. Previously, Coman was a program director of the International Gay and Lesbian Rights Commission. And in 2015, ARCUS worked closely with funded Novo Foundation programs for transgenderism. Novo was funded by Peter Buffett, son of billionaire Warren Buffett, right? So we've just found how this impacts on New Zealand. So there we go, folks.
Wow.
Quite a lot to take in there.
Quite a lot going on.
Yeah. I'm going to keep going until this is
keep discovering, Penny.
Is picked up by political people that want to help, and ministerial people that want to help, and other agents and lawyers that want to help.
Keep burning through your inexhaustible list and see what you
fire,
can find. You are on fire. All right, Pen,
thank you.
Any final words for people to like and subscribe and all of the things that they can do to support?
Well, I'd just say probably need something stronger than a glass of water.
Cool. All right, see you in the next one.